Hello, Facebook world. Hello, 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 and welcome to The Insiders, brought to you by Giant TV. I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Amber Price, and we are kind of excited about today, actually. We're going to have an interesting conversation because we always, as you know, we don't actually typically know what we're going to talk about until typically about an hour or two before. To be honest with you, we kind of say, what do you want to talk about today? And that's it. And then we just give one word, and Amber threw out. Go ahead, Amber. What did you throw out?
Authenticity. So aligning with your authentic life.
Which is such a cool topic, right? Like, we often all think that we're being authentic all the time. But on a number of occasions, I have found myself placating to others' needs and wants and desires. So I haven't always been 100% authentic, although that's what I'm constantly striving to be. Makes sense?
Absolutely. And this is the reason it came up today, was because it was really prevalent in my own life. And of course, usually when something, I'm so delayed.
You are. You're so delayed, darling. You're so delayed.
So delayed today. This is the deal.
Like a slow motion, Amber. Okay, so let me take the head for a minute so that you can come into focus for us. So we kind of decided to talk about this because it was coming into Amber's focal this weekend. She was focused on this weekend, and it's interesting how parallel our lives are, especially where topics come up and you'll throw something at me or I'll throw something at you, and we're like, oh, I totally relate to that. So we figure, if we're having those moments, probably the folks that are watching this are having those moments. So it's a good conversation to have. So what does authenticity mean? Being authentic to self, what does that actually mean? And if you look at what's kind of going on in the world right now, everybody's kind of confused about where they fall in their, or they're really striving to learn where they fall on the world stage. Where do I lean? Where do I, what is my belief system? What is, how is this working? And so it's very confusing right now, as we're all trying to consciously come together with, the world's needs, wants, and desires, but also our own needs, wants, and desires. So one of the things I was shared with a long time ago, like we're talking over 10 years ago, by a good friend of mine. And she said, I have chosen to never lie again. And I'm like, okay, that's going to work out really well for you, because, there are times when it's not so much I consider lying, but white lying, where we try to curb what we're saying to not offend others. And she said, no, especially for that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to get scary with you. And she's like, no, it's not. She goes, because I'm going to just totally be me and let the chips fall where they may. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm going to hold on to the rails for you, because I'm scared. I'm nervous for you, because what does that look like? Because I was constantly trying to curb my conversation so that I didn't offend or upset anybody. And what she taught me in probably 2 short weeks was just how epic and awesome it was to speak your truth and not to lie, and to just be completely honest. And it does, it doesn't always work out that way, but it does work out 99.9% of the time, because you always feel comfortable with what you're saying. You're not second guessing what you're saying, and you're not worried about, did I come across this way or that way? You know that you said what was what you meant, and then you offer opportunities for people to open up and be authentic and honest with you. So it opens up this amazing channel of truthfulness. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. So let's see if you're back on there, Amber. You look like you're moving normally now.
Do I? Okay, that's
yeah,
good.
You're there.
It's always because I'm the one that's streaming, so the first few minutes is very difficult for me to start streaming and going. So that's why, Liz, you got it. It's awesome. Yeah, I resonate with everything that you've said, and there's been a lot of work around, why do people feel like they're stuck, and why do people feel like they have anxiety and feelings of depression, or why are we people pleasing and becoming so damn resentful that we can't even look ourselves in the mirror? And I thought this years ago, because no matter how truthful you can be to one person, they don't always have to be truthful to you, and it can lead you to get into trouble if you don't know that they're not being truthful, or it's twisted or white lied or whatever. And that's it. Like, and I just always said the same thing your friend said, like, I'm just going to live as authentically as I can from this moment on. And then I can't, like, I can't control what other people are doing around me, but I can see, I trust myself now when I'm engaging with people. And that's what happened. And I didn't. And I learned some very, very important lessons about that, even as recently as 10 years ago. So, when you're trustworthy and you're hoping everybody is as an alignment as you can be very victim to being hurt. And I say victim in the sense of just being hurt, but like not a victim. But then also it teaches you something from there. So if somebody is lying to you, or somebody doesn't even have to lie, you might know that what they're doing or saying isn't even authentic, right? And you have to trust your instincts about that person, and trust that what's happening is, you have to say, like, okay, I have a choice here to make, and I have to follow my gut or not, but whatever, I have to take accountability for my actions in this.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, so you can probably think of some times where you trusted somebody and took what they were saying, and maybe they guided you the wrong way. Maybe it was somebody who unintentionally did it, or maybe it was purposeful for their own gain.
Absolutely. And here's the other little caveat that we often forget when dealing with others is, no matter what comes out of your mouth, perception is everything. So others will perceive what they want to, right? So others will, if somebody gets upset or offended by what you've said, that's their perception. If you're coming at from a perspective of truth and honesty and awareness, that's your truth. Now, I could probably be, I could be accused, I'm sure, of debating a lot of people on social media. I like to learn. I want to be involved in the conversation. But I also have to be mindful that it's my perception of what others are saying or thinking. And often, more often than not, I will find that I have jumped to a conclusion on somebody's belief system, or the language in which they've used to project something isn't truly what they actually meant. So it's a good reminder for all of us who are on social media to be mindful of taking things so damn personally. Everybody takes everything so damn personally. And I get it, right? I get it. That's their authentic self. They're taking things personally, but there's a reason behind that, I think. When we're not heard, our voices aren't heard, or we aren't seen to be somebody who can be, listened to, or what have you, it creates a whole bunch of crazy feelings and emotions, and we get so offended by or affected by that, not being part of the herd, right? So be mindful that it's not about you. Never has been about you. It's a reflection of others. It's not a reflection of you. But if you're being questioned on everything that you're saying or doing, which has happened to me, it makes me wake up. I get woke real quick, and I start to analyze and see, maybe I didn't say that the way I should have. Maybe I could have been softer in my presentation of that. Maybe. And that's how we learn and we grow. Right?
Yeah. And that's part of it, is what we're truly looking for is to be seen. I want my soul to be seen by the person that I'm connecting to. And when that connection happens, you will feel fireworks. You will feel this like long lost family feeling. You're going to feel like, where have you been my entire life? Because you know that that person sees you. They see everything about you and they get it, and you get them. And so when the authenticity comes into play is that when you're being faced or mirrored with something that is causing you to not feel like you're being seen or being heard, that's when all of those kind of inner demons will come out. And then you start to act unauthentic because now you're trying to justify why you're being authentic, right? And so
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. But if you just keep in mind, you're here to learn something, right? And as you said, Liz, like, you just want to be part of the conversation and to learn. And so when did debating or when did asking questions become so much of the problem that instead of giving that as an opportunity for education, it becomes a defense or shut you down, or I'm superior, I'm in power because you don't get it and you don't understand and you're useless and a waste of time. And so that's why we're in the state that we're in for most part of the world, is because, you know, the countries like Thailand and, you know, all of these different countries that have much importance on seeing people and not the materialism and not, you know, the stuff that other countries might be going through, they can see each other and feel each other. And those are the most important things and the most important leaders and the most important teachers of the universe, because they're the ones that are listening instead of talking, and talking when somebody is listening. And so that's the type of role that would be supportive if you're trying to, you know, get your tribe to be vibrating at the same or similar vibration as you, because you can only, again, perception, deal with what you have. And to a certain extent, people around you are only able to get to their level at that moment. And we have to, you know, forgive ourselves because you're only doing the best you can with the information you have today.
Exactly.
That's it. So, I mean, something that I made a mistake on, you know, 10 years ago, 25 years ago, 5 minutes ago, it was like, oh, now that I know
Have
this,
the awareness.
I would have done it different, but I can't be mad at myself because I didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. That is huge. That saying in of itself is huge, because there are so many people fixed on things in their life, fixed on their belief systems about relationships, fixed on what love is, fixed on what friendship is, fixed on all these different things. And they're not willing to see it from another's perspective. So I liken it to, there's, you know, okay, so I remember seeing a Facebook page not too long ago about, and I posted it on my wall, and it was about friends of mine know that they're not going to see me or hear from me, and I can go months or years without talking to them, and then I can reconnect with them just like that, like nothing, no time had passed. And I thought, yeah, that's a big deal for a lot of people. They need constant connection from people. Some people expect that from friends or family, constant connection. And I'm like so grateful that I have a group of friends that don't require that. you and I don't require that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, phew, I have always been that way. That I don't require that. So I just assumed everybody else didn't require that. And it has gotten me into hot water. But I've had to express authentically. I
know, right?
How do you say that again? Authentic. How do you say it?
Authentically.
Thank you. That's right.
I knew what you were talking about.
What is that word? It's not coming out of my mouth. So yeah, I've had to express how that is not how it works with me. I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm simply living.
Yes.
And so, you know, and it's not like you're my main focus 24/7. that has been a conversation that's happened a lot in my life. And, you know, everybody that I have closely to connected to me knows and gets that. Thank God.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a maturity thing or if it's, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
I find, and I, because when I connect with somebody, I connect with somebody so strongly that I'm always connected to them. So they're, you know, if I have friends, I think about them randomly throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I might message one of them and say, hey, what's up? That in no way, shape, or form means you have to drop for an hour and speak to me. It just means I'm thinking about you. I love
Yes.
you.
Yes.
And, you know, you're still in my radar. But when I was growing up and we were, you know, in school, it became where, you know, that, hi, sweetie, come here.
I can hear him.
She doesn't like to be
Baby.
very much, but she's gorgeous. Look at this
She's
cat.
so gorgeous. She's my fave.
It's okay. It's okay. You take your time. So, you know, when you're growing up, it almost becomes you have to have a best friend. You have to have that person. You have to have that person that no matter what is going to have your back. You're going to be super close. And, you know, people crave that and yearn for that. And when it seems like it's not being given, it's, you know, it might go back on something's wrong with me or they don't care about me the way I care about them. But nobody teaches children at that age that you focus on you do you, and then everybody else complements that, where it's kind of like you're popular based on how many likes you have, how many friends you have, how many followers.
Having buddies, right? It's a buddy system. That's how, you know, you can't get through this on your own. You need a buddy.
Yeah.
I noticed that. That's an interesting concept, Amber, because I noticed that with the kids, my grandkids, how they need the buddy system at school. And I get like kids do need that connection, but they get so reliant on it that they don't know how to play by themselves or connect with themselves, or, you know, this is a problem.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I feel like there, you know, is enough information out there showing us that children are resisting having a lot of people. Thank you. I just got a tea. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I am
my address.
I was like so excited to drink my tea, and then I'm like, where did it go? So, you know, we put too much effort on socialism, but we're not putting enough effort towards individualism. And the individualism is what's going to get you somewhere in life. It's going to get to rise above and be able to develop and speak and have your own thoughts. You know, the education system is great. It teaches you how to absorb information, but it doesn't really teach you how to think on your own or to ask those questions. And, you know, they are evolving. It is evolving depending on, you know, school, education level, all of that. But, you know, there's a big disconnect even from primary to high school, from high school to college. I mean, there's such a big transition.
Oh, yeah.
And there's not enough support in between. And I'm not even talking about the education. I'm not here to talk about the education system, but I'm saying a lot of it is sculpted at a young age to get us to where we are today. Like, I'm okay to go to the movies and sit by myself and have popcorn. I've done it multiple times because I'm like, I am alone. Like, I am alone. Like, I love it. Like this, like I told you guys last week, like I had the house to myself this weekend for the first time in 3 years. And like, look how happy I am. I had some time. I rested. I had a nap. I could just like turn up the TV and
yeah, exactly. No, you need that. You need that downtime.
Yes,
totally
it's
do.
important. But I mean, if you're making it appear like, oh my God, you can't do anything alone, or by doing something alone means you're a loner or you're
lonely.
Yeah, you're lonely. It's not the same thing. And, you know, I love my alone time and I love being able to create in that time. Like I do a lot of creating. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, me too. No, like the society has a lot of lonely people in it. I mean, you know, probably the majority of my clients are connected to some kind of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they understood, and I always give the same advice, you know, whenever I'm dealing with somebody who has challenges, either lacking in connectivity, whether it be a loved one, like a partner or a friend, you know, we've gotten away from being our own best friends. And I always tell people, like, if you know, think of what you would do for your best friend if they were in this situation. So any of you watching right now, if you're in a situation that's overwhelming or daunting and you feel very lonely and on your own, ask yourself, if your best friend came up to you and gave you that information of what you're feeling and going through, what would you do for that best friend? And I can guarantee you, you would jump through hoops for them. You would walk on fire for them. You would feed them, clothe them, bathe them. You would do whatever it took. Probably not bathe them. I don't even know where that came from.
What kind of friends do you have? But maybe, I mean, self-care, you might have to bathe someone one day.
Well, that's right. Yes, thank you, Amber.
Yes, I got you.
My brain's a little fried today. I don't know why. So with that being said, you would step in and take over. You would take on the responsibility for that person. If you did that for yourself, oh my God, if every person on the planet did that, because I do that, I am my own best friend. I am who I come to first when I have questions about my relationship, about my family, about my friends, about my house, about what I am the first person I come to. I question me. I'm like, hey, Liz, if this was your friend, what would you do for her? And I have the answers, boom. And I put so much energy into other people that I needed to do that for me. And once I started doing that for me, boy, I can tell you, it was a game changer in my life.
I think for me, I was just so tired of living in such a way that was pleasing people who never gave it a second thought after that.
Yeah.
And I'm still working through things. And what I want to point out here is the reason that Liz and I are being able to talk freely and we've vowed to offer this unscripted conversation about what our lives are like and how you guys can also get the education, insight, and clarity you need to help you get to this space or further or wherever at your own pace, is because we have made mistakes. Like, we know, we can admit we are human, and there's nothing that, if you're in our path, it's because we shared a similar journey and we've been there before, and now we can speak and provide insight now, and we can connect to the spiritual energy that gives us the information to get clarity or guidance or what have you. But by no means does it mean that we know, like, we were perfect, like Jesus, not at all.
Exactly.
But we worked, yes, and we worked our ass off to get to the space that we're in.
Yes.
Today. We are enlightened now in the fact that we are aware, we take accountability, and we understand the impact it had on ourselves and others to get to this space. That's the difference. And that's that peace and freedom that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And you can't write somebody's story for them. You can't write their perception of something. You can only control what you're doing and how you handle the outcome to make it right afterwards. So that's it. And to line up with your authentic self truly just means that you're living and you're speaking your truth. And once you do, and you get past what Liz said, which is that scary feature of, oh my God, people are going to be mad or offended or whatever, you realize that people are mad, offended, and whatever anyway. Like, they will no matter what if they want to be. Because again, you can't control if they are or not. So you might as well be living in alignment with your own values and your own belief systems, and, be aware that if you were a daughter and now you are a mother, you have got to shift and understand you're no longer reacting as a daughter anymore. You're reacting as a mother. So now you have that bridge, and you have to kind of bridge that gap to get to evolve your belief systems and evolve what you think and believe and know and how you want to choose to lead your own life. And that's how you align with your authentic self. You're just truly asking yourselves, like Liz, you ask yourself the questions of what's important to you. Is it providing purpose? Is it providing passion? And if you can answer yes, then you are good to go.
Exactly. There's other questions that I ask.
Yeah.
Does this harm me in the process if I do, or if I think, or if I change my direction or whatever? Does this harm others? will it affect or harm others in a negative way?
Yeah.
These are always questions that I'm asking myself when I'm thinking, you know, one of the things, you know, and anybody watching this show is going to be in tune. That's why they're watching this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're totally wanting to learn more. They're striving to gain more insight. Hence the name Insiders. Yes. We must have known something. But, you know, none of us are ever coming from a place of you know, anger or resentment, or, you know, even when we're passionate about a belief, we're never coming at it from a, this is the way it is. It's always, especially for folks like us who have nothing but thoughts constantly running in our mind, and new highlighted awarenesses constantly running, may it be watching others act out, or something that you see on TV or in a movie or read or whatever. It's constantly evolving. Our growth is constant. So where we may have a belief system now, it is so malleable. It can change just like that. It can change. And it's okay to, oh, there's the other kitty.
I'm surrounded. There's two in front of me. There's one here. I don't know where the other one is. But...
I love it. Mine was just in here and I don't know where he's gone now, but yeah, he doesn't want to take the limelight away from your two. I love it.
No, I guess not.
So yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's nothing is ever set in stone. The only thing that is, okay, I shouldn't say nothing. Let me retract that. 99.9% things are not set in stone. Love is set in stone. And you can love somebody and still not like them. And you can love somebody and still disagree with them. And you can love somebody and not be connected to them. Those are all normal human things that most people don't have a grasp on. They feel like it's, you have to be connected if I love you. That's,
and you know, to expand upon that, I wonder why. I mean, you got society out there teaching us that it's okay in a very dramatic way to say what you want to say and slam the door and walk out and be dramatic and change to next scene and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that. I asked that exact question. I thought, holy, life is hard. Love is hard. Relationships are hard. Yeah. Communication is hard, because it would be super easy if you just took what I was saying and then done, check off next thing. But sometimes you've got to work at the conversation, and you got to work at the relationship, and you're like, holy Jesus, I'm ready to tap out. Like, this is way too hard. Life shouldn't be this hard, and I'm not done. And then I'm thinking, they don't show that in the shows. They don't talk about this in the movies. And, you know, there's a good, you know, and if there was that, it's a soap opera, or people made fun of it. It was like, oh my God, you're so dramatic. You have a horrible life. What's wrong with you? What's all these problems? But you've got, you know, lessons where you've got either parents that don't fight at all in front of you, and then you don't know there's conflict. And then you've got parents that fight all the time, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want that, so I'm going to not fight and keep the peace. Yeah. Or maybe you didn't have a two-parent family, and then you just didn't know what the dynamic was. So either way, there's so many exterior forces, especially with your own authentic path, your own ego, your higher self. All of those things are all like little pieces of the recipe that add up to what's happening. But if you can keep what Liz is saying in mind, that love doesn't change. So just because you're really pissed that your husband didn't take out the garbage 5 times in a row, or your wife keeps wanting to,
were you here last week? No, just kidding.
Or your wife keeps wanting to change the air conditioning settings or whatever your issue is, you still can love them and still voice that you're having an issue with something that's happening. Now, most of us either fight with them or ignore, because they know that no matter about speaking about it, it's not going to change anything. It's going to cause frustration. That's where the compromise kind of comes in. And that's where lessons are totally different for people in relationships and with children. But if you are just talking about aligning to your own purpose, there's so many questions you can ask yourself to get to that space where you can be peaceful and full of gratitude and live mindfully without having to agree with everybody, or without having to have everybody agree with you, because you're not right just because you think so, and someone else isn't right just because they think so. It's just their own experience. So you have to kind of meet in the middle. And, I think the thing, what I was going to say originally was, it's so much energy to live when you're not being authentic. It takes so much.
Oh my God, are you so right about that?
Yeah, like it's exhausting.
Oh,
So if
it
you're
is
trying
exhausting.
to, I got to go and see this person and I have to, be on the game, or, I have to socialize. And then you're at the end of the day, you're like, I'm so tired. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody else. I can't do this all the time. It takes a certain degree of energy. So if you were just living authentically, imagine the people that you would connect to, because they're vibrating at the same energy as you. So you don't have to work so hard for people, because now all the right people are coming and connecting to you.
Exactly. That's what actually happened when I made that switch to trying to live for others, to being authentic to myself and what my needs, wants, and desires were. Asking all of those questions simultaneously, but speaking my truth mantra and living my truth, was I started to attract higher vibration people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've maintained the same group of girls that I've always known and have always, those people were already super special anyway, right?
Yeah.
But new people started to come in, and that's what kind of happens. Like, we start to attract higher vibration people who are either on the same level as me or higher vibration that I'm like, wow, I got to get there. Like, I got to climb up there and be with them.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal to anybody else around me, but people do take it personally when you start to connect with others and move beyond where you are. I can tell you, I've experienced that on more than one occasion in my lifetime, and it's being aware that it's not, like the word jealousy gets thrown out. Like, it's not about jealousy. It's just, people become needing, or they don't get a handle on the awareness that you're growing. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. They should be excited and happy for growth, right?
Yeah, but you're changing their world, the way they know it, right? So
That's
then
right.
It becomes, what am I now without this or
Yes.
without that? And so now they have to be forced to feel something.
To raise their own vibration.
Yeah. Or they go the opposite.
Yes.
So, you're changing, they're changing, everyone's changing. It decides, like, what is your purpose? And again, when you're aligned to your purpose, sometimes you're just around people for a section of time, and
so true.
1 day, 1 minute, or, you keep popping up your whole lifespan here, like, yeah. You just have to kind of figure out what these people mean to you. But I can say, you can grow the people that you have without having to replace somebody. Like, you don't have to get rid of someone to make room for someone. You can continue to grow the amount of people that you love and cherish, and that love and cherish you, and still work on yourself without worrying you're offending somebody. Because if you're working on you, that means that you're vibrating and you're shining and you're glowing, and people want to see that. They want to feel that. They're inspired by that. So what we're saying today is, live for you. You do you, and unapologetically. Just be you, and know there's so many layers of dynamics and so much perception and so much going on at all times that, we barely touched the top of it, but those are the things that you have to consider. And when you are enlightened and you're aware of all of those things, it helps you get there, because now okay, well, they're just a little bit hurt right now. It's okay, versus you getting your armor on and being defensive and causing an issue further. So that enlightenment helps you. It's not making excuses for people. It's becoming enlightened to understand there's not one way of seeing something. There's so many different sides of seeing it.
So true. So true. And, I was just reading the comments on here, and I didn't get a chance to go through all of them, but we've got quite a few. Bro has chimed in. Hi, Bro. And apparently I can give Bro a bath.
Okay. There you go. There would be at least one person.
That's too funny. Oh my God. Okay. And Laura's watching, bro, to Renee, Amanda. Good topic, ladies. Thanks for the continued inspiration to live your most authentic life. So much freedom in not caring what others think and following your heart. Challenging to execute, but totally worth the effort.
Yeah.
100% Amanda.
Yeah.
Vanessa saying, if I'm just doing me, is causing an issue with family and they are looking for me to apologize for putting myself first, I don't feel like I should. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. No, 100% you're right. Remember, people's perception of what you say or do is on them. Now, obviously, if you're screaming and yelling and swearing at somebody, the perception they're going to get is that you're an angry person. But if we're talking about, not being connected, or because I kind of feel like that's where we're at with this, or making us feel guilty for not spending more time, which is what friends and family can do sometimes. That's on them. That's on them. Mm-hmm. You do you, and just rise above.
The issue is that you're the only person responsible for your human experience. Therefore, what I mean is, your soul has come to this human experience and you have said, I have to do A, B, C, D while I'm here. So if you're going to be swayed by anybody else and you're not doing that A, B, C, D, you aren't doing what your soul needs. So essentially, if these things you're supposed to be doing are your calling and are authentic to your truth, other people are testing you to say, how important is it for you to set it up, make a statement, and do what is your purpose? Like they're testing you with maybe not knowing they are, but that's what the universe has put them there to make you say, hey, I have to do this. And we're talking about things that are supposed to be aligned with your authentic self, which are supposed to be helpful. We're not talking about hurting people or doing any other things like that. But you're being tested to stand up and say, I have a job to do here and I have to do it. So I'm going to take these steps and get to that space. Because at the end of your life here, you have to answer to that. You have to be in that space where you did all the things you were supposed to do, or you made a big chunk on it. And if you didn't, they don't have to do it again. They don't have to figure this out. It's on you. So that's what changed me. That's why I'm like, I'm doing me, and I have to, because I don't want to do this again, or I don't want to be screw up. I need to get an A.
It's so true. It's so true. I totally want to get an A+ in this lifetime. Yeah. No, I get it. Like I don't want to experience the same dramas and traumas over and over and over again, like I did in the early part of my life. I repeated the same action time and time again, expecting a different outcome. And we all know that's the definition of insanity. And I see that happening all the time with people, where they repeat and go, I don't know why. I don't understand why this is happening. Well, you have to focus on you. You have to put the focus back on you. If you're reliant on another for your joy and happiness, you're looking in the wrong direction. They cannot give you joy and happiness. It's impossible. That is in your control. I feel like I'm preaching now. But,
yeah, but you're right, because it's true. And I think that it triggers people more, though. That's what people are fearful of. And that's why they keep doing the same cycle over and over. I can attest, because if I change something, or if I don't get on their, carousel of crying or fear or whatever, then, I'm the witch, or I'm the crabby person, or I'm not getting on their bandwagon. And therefore, it no longer becomes about the situation. It becomes a personal attack towards them, because they're not fueling the energy that it takes to feed the negative emotional energy. So they get stuck in that. They get stuck in it. But I think what I can say out of personal experience is, once you stop getting on their carousel, you will realize that their carousel can keep spinning with you just over here. Like it'll still spin without you. You don't have to be an active participant in it. And yes, it takes a little bit of freaking guts and determination. And you're like, oh, I'm sweating while I'm doing it. But once you're done, you're like, holy Jesus, why didn't I do that a long time ago?
Oh my God, that's
Why
so
didn't
true.
I do that? Like, that's it? That's all that happened?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
How many times have you experienced, like everybody that's watching this, how many single times have you experienced a change in your life where you had to make a dramatic change and you had to leave others behind and just do what you needed to do and nothing bad happened? You survived and everybody else survived without you, and you know, and you evolved from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like taking your first step, riding a bike for the first time. There was so much fear. I told Amber I started building a treehouse this weekend for my grandchildren, and my grandson was petrified to climb the ladder. Like his little legs were shaking and his arms were shaking. He's like, Em, I can't do it. I'm like, okay, maybe I went a little high with it. I don't know what I was thinking. And my husband's like, just climb it. You're fine. And I'm like, no, he's just a little baby. And my husband's like, just climb it, Warren, you're fine. So got behind him and he climbed it. It took him 3 times to do it. Like, Emma, help me, help me, help me. And then he was fine. And that's kind of life in a nutshell, isn't it? You know, you're so in fear of what's coming next. How is it going to go next? What am I going to, and then all of a sudden you're doing it and you're up and down that ladder, riding that bike, whatever the metaphor you want to use. And it's like, why was I so afraid of this?
You just
What
have
was
to
so
do it
scary?
one time and then it becomes something that you've done before.
Yeah.
It's no longer scary because you've done it before.
So yeah, so try that, folks. Try and just speak your truth and be authentic as much as you can. Try it just for today. And you're going to be blown away at how scary it is. It is scary. Like, I'm not going to lie. There's a little scare tactic to it because you're like, I don't want people to not like me. I don't want people to think I'm mean or cruel, or what if I'm going to, you know, just speak your truth and you can't go wrong.
I find that it's harder for women, right? Because, and this is not a sexist thing, but I mean, just watching, like if my husband was authoritative in something, his friends, colleagues, or whatever would say, okay, you're right. Like we have to do what he says. He knows what he's talking about. But if, you know, a woman were to be as authoritative, it would come off very aggressive or maybe very, like it would be a personal attack towards them versus, oh, you're right. That was very intellectual. That was very, you know, good. So I mean, sometimes, you know, even age, somebody who is getting wisdom from their child might not listen to their child because you're too young. You shouldn't know better. I'm older than you. I'm going to listen. So it's not received properly because they have determined you can't know better because of the age or the gender or the race or the whatever. But there is that kind of stuff that you have to work through and figure out as well. So like I said, many layers of things to consider, but if you're aware of them and you can reevaluate if those things are important to you or not, then you just keep going. You just keep going, and everybody else can have all the stuff that they need to worry about on their own, and then you keep going.
And your paths will cross again at some point. And maybe not always, but at some point your paths will cross again. And you'll be grown and so much wiser as a result, and that friendship can reignite, or that, you know, whatever. But I'm just reading here, Michelle Graton says, it's nice sometimes just to say no. And if they can't accept that, then I can just delete. And I love that you brought that up, Michelle, because the word no was not even in my vocabulary. Like go back like 10, 15 years. I didn't know how to say no to people. And I was very much a yes person at work. I was like, whatever you need, just tell me what you need and I'm there. I got it for you. And what happened was I started to build up a woe is me, resentment clause, you know, like, geez, like, can people not see that I need stuff too? Like, can people not see that I need this? I need love. I need attention. I need affection. And the reality was I had created my own environment. Yeah. So, and when I learned that word no, it was amazing, you know? So anybody who's watching this, who doesn't say the word no, try that. That's an epic thing to do. The word no is wonderful, and it puts you first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay to be selfish. The word selfish was used when we were children as a derogatory thing. Stop being so selfish. You're a selfish little person, or a little girl, or a little boy. And, you know, I think Canadians as a whole, we are non-selfish for the most part. We try to be very giving to others. And then for the fact that, you know, most women, and again, not trying to be sexist, because there are a lot of men out there who are very giving. But in my experience, so again, it's my experience, not maybe everybody's, I have noticed that more women are, you know, that way inclined. So at the end of the day, you know, we've just got to really, we just have to, you know, be aware that it's not always the way one thinks it is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's a you know what, a drop in the pond or whatever to get you to the next stage. And then once you, because these are the ones that we're talking about today that you have to peel back in order to see who you are, right? So those are the ones, those exterior ones that you have a little bit of control over, so that you can get closer to living alignment with your authentic self, and, you know, giving yourself that freedom and empowerment to be able to do it.
So, yeah. I know. Well, I'm looking at the time here. I'll just quickly run through these questions here. Trying to change the wrong cycle has been very difficult. Every obstacle is in the way. Feels like that. But Melinda, you will get through it. I promise you. Micheline is saying the best thing I ever did was retire early.
Good for you.
Best thing I ever did was go into business for myself. So it's kind of like retirement. I get to pick and choose my hours, right? Mm-hmm. Tiffany, Carrie Perez is saying, hope to get on the waiting list soon, trying to book an appointment. I struggle saying no to anyone.
I know.
Tiffany, yeah.
That's a hard thing, right?
Yeah.
But you're only one person. Like, you're only one person, and there's only so many things you can do in a day or a week or a month. And, you know, you have to give yourself that, like, you're only one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Give yourself a break, folks. You know, yeah. There's only one of you, and no matter how hard you wish, it is impossible to clone yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I guess we could wrap this up, Miss Amber. What do you think?
I have to show you something.
Oh, please. Yes, I remember you told me something about this. I'm excited.
So both of my little grandbabies and all my kids are all like either empaths or indigos or whatever, right? They're kind of psychic or mediums, but different levels and
exactly.
But anyways, but my little granddaughter, I had this made for her. World's smallest medium. And in case she forgets who her gem is,
oh, I love it.
A little name on the back on her bum. So she's gonna wear this.
I love that.
Because you know what's funny about her is that she's just over 1. And as soon as I start to sense that something is coming into the house or around, or there's energy or whatever, it's me first. I get that, like, okay, here's something. Then the cats immediately, and then she goes, ooh. She knows, right? So then she usually runs over to the picture of the person, like if it is somebody that I know or she knows or whatever, or doesn't even have met. If she hasn't met because she's only 1, she'll run over to the picture and stand there in front of it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, she's a super duper cute little girl. Of course, I'm biased because
yeah, she's gorgeous. You're not biased. She's gorgeous. So
cute. I can't wait. And I have another one being made for my grandson that says, I'm not napping, I'm meditating. It's so cute. So that's my
adorable. I freaking love it. I love it. And why don't you show that mug behind you?
Oh yeah. Okay. I got
ta-da!
The Insiders with Liz and Amber, and bam, Giant TV. I wanted to drink out of it, but I forgot. Like I lost my tea, so I didn't know where it went. So yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, that's exciting. We have some mugs, and one of the things we haven't done in a while. Well, I think we missed a month.
I think we missed May.
May.
And now we have June.
And we have June. So maybe we could do 2 giveaways where just to catch up with May and June, we could do 2 of those mugs. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And so Alana and Jay Co made these for us.
Yes.
These mugs. And she is making the shirts and all of the other merchandise. And so that will be helpful.
She made my merchandise too.
She did, yeah.
Shirts and bags. I love them.
Yeah, Alana and Jayco, and she, we'll put some gifts together for us so we can do May and June and send out a little gift basket of stuff.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we'll come up with the question, folks that are watching, and it'll be you have to like and share the insiders and our personal pages, and the Instagram too, right, Amber? Is that right?
Yeah, we have an Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook for Amber and Liz, and then the insiders.
That's right.
And if you're already doing that, you can still enter to win just by sharing.
I think they should do that, and I think they should share this post, this video on their page.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. They need to share this video on their page as well. And what we'll do is we will choose somebody with our little computer thing, and we'll go from there. We'll let you know next week who the winner is. Sound like a plan?
That sounds awesome. We'll do 2 winners, right? One for June and one for May.
Yeah, we'll do a May and a June winner.
Prizes to 2 people.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, it was really nice chatting with you, Liz, and I look forward to next week. And we will see all of you guys next week as well. If you can catch us, we'll chat with you too.
Sounds good. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.